Hello, folks, and welcome to Monday, right? And I know we don't have class until Thursday, so I thought I would like to make an announcement on Monday, or a few announcements. And one is just to remind you that we're still a class, right? We may not have our synchronous class till Thursday, but we're a class throughout, because obviously our synchronous class is only about 90 minutes, and we need another 90 minutes for the classes that we typically have on campus. And as you know from the announcements you've had in the past week from the school, we need about 35 extra minutes of classroom time each week for the 4 credit classes we have. So here you have it. You can listen to me for a little while, right? And I start off because I think that the topics we cover this semester, and in a lot of the classes I teach, are really heavy. They're the underbelly of humanity. They're not always explainable. We spend a lot of time trying to make sense of them. We have theories around them. We look at the way the system works and the ways that it doesn't work and the ways to make it better and more efficient, right? But we talk about the crimes, and every crime we talk about involves people, both as people who are accused of crimes, people who have done crimes, people who are victims of crimes, and the ripple effect, I call it, which are the families, the direct families of all those people, then the extended families and their communities and their places of faith and their schools. And so all of these ripple effects. So I think we do some pretty heavy lifting in this course. So important is that you laugh every day. You laugh, you belly laugh, you just get it out. You take, whatever, your coffee in the morning, and see something funny, or make some jokes, or go laugh with friends. And so I say corny jokes because I'm corny that way, like the one that says, right, did you hear about the new restaurant called Karma? There's no menu. You get what you deserve. Anyway, that's how I believe that we need to keep our sense of humor, because there's a lot of heavy stuff going on, and there always is. And I always wonder, will there be cases that we need to talk about? And there always will be. And it's almost sad to think about that every time I teach a course, we don't have to worry too much about cases coming up. I mentioned last week case of Tyre Nichols. We knew it was bad, but now I think the rest of the country knows how bad it was. On January 7th, Tyre Nichols was pulled over by police for an alleged traffic violation that the chief of police still says she's seen no evidence to even substantiate that. But it was still a traffic violation. And traffic is based on 2 kinds, like jailable, really more serious ones, like DUIs, driving while under the influence, or intoxicated, or impaired, or driving while suspended when you shouldn't be driving at all. And then there are the minor traffics, the unjailables, or there are some jailables in there, but very minor. Speeding, reckless driving, negligent driving, those kinds of things. So this was to be for reckless driving. January 8th, right away, the police said that they attempted to stop a man for reckless driving. He was taken to a hospital in critical condition. So right away, after 2 confrontations, they did say that when officers approached the vehicle, the suspect fled on foot, and an officer pursued, and another confrontation happened. They said he complained of shortness of breath and was taken to the hospital. On January 10th, a few days later, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation said that the man involved in that with police officers had succumbed to his injuries. On January 14th, the friends and supporters of Tyre Nichols protest in front of the police station and they call for police to release the body cameras. And on January 15th, Police Chief Davis said she has reviewed the information on the encounter and she decided to take immediate action. So she served notice of policy violations to the officers involved. The very next day, civil rights attorney Ben Crump, he announced that he's representing the Nichols family and asked for, again, the body camera release. Protesters started gathering. By January 18th, the U.S. Justice Department announced it had opened a civil rights investigation. And on January 20th, those 5 initial officers involved in the initial and the most direct beating of Tyre Nichols were fired after the internal investigation, a very quick one, found that they either used excessive force, failed to intervene, and failed to render aid to him. And so those 5 officers are fired. January 23rd, the Nichols family reviewed the police video with their attorneys, and it showed Mr. Nichols being beaten for 3 minutes in a savage encounter that was kind of reminiscent of a Rodney King beating that goes all the way back to 1991 in Los Angeles. So the video showed that he was shot, tasered, that he was pepper sprayed, and he was restrained after he was pulled over very close to his home. On January 24th, they said that the release of the police video was going to be timed to avoid the chance that the suspect or witnesses are going to change or tailor or modify their statements in order to meet what is in the video. So January 25th, the police chief called the officers' actions heinous, reckless, and inhumane. She said in a statement in social media that other officers are still being investigated for violating the company policies, the department policies. And on January 26th, those officers, the 5 officers initially fired, are charged with murder, aggravated assault, aggravated kidnapping, official misconduct, and official oppression. They said they each play different roles, but they're all responsible. And January 27th is when the authorities released the video, which we heard all day, to keep calm. They had Mr. Nichols' family on asking for calm, not wanting a repeat of what happens in almost every case of alleged police brutality and the death of typically a young Black man. So we get ready for it, kind of to not inoculate us, but get ready for what we're going to see, to not react with the anger that we are supposedly going to feel and then did feel, because the video was so much worse, no matter how much they tell us it is, right? And we can't shy away from that. And I have friends who said, I didn't see it. I have no desire. I'm not going to see it. To which I say, to change, we have to confront. We need to confront the fact that we don't not only always get it right, but even in the process of trying to do our job to protect society, that our departments are sometimes institutionalized with their own culture that cause the unnecessary murder of young Black men to keep happening. And unfortunately, not unusual, we will discuss it. We have other things to discuss because we have a really packed semester, but we can't let these moments go by without acknowledging their importance in the process here. What does it tell us? What does it tell us? One thing it tells us, all these officers are Black. And that tells us that our prior policy of saying that when too many young Black men died, that we need to hire more diverse populations of police officers. Well, Yes, we do, and we still do. But that's not the full answer. We have to look at institutional racism, and Black officers don't get a pass from institutional racism because they're Black. White obviously don't, Latina don't, no one, but nobody gets a pass. It's the institutional part of that we have to address, right? So we need to do more. And if you think this is new, every time we get a little, think we get a little better and the numbers go down a little bit, but then these things flash in front of us and they're heinous and they're cruel and in a way that we can't imagine human beings treating other human beings. As Tyre Nichols yelled for his mom, cried for his mom, because he knew he hadn't done anything wrong. They continue to beat him. These officers looking at him have so detached him to not see him as a human that they make fun, that they talk about him in degrading ways. And he's talking to his mom. Well, your mom's not here. That's what they say too. So some of the things that we've gotten a little better at, we have to keep chipping away, but we have to do better than that, or it's a long, long road. After George Floyd, we stopped almost across the country. Most of our bigger departments have stopped chokeholds completely. Don't allow them anymore. And then last year about this time, when I think that I'm starting this class and there won't be anything, there was the shooting of Amir Locke, who was 23 years old, just sleeping on his cousin's couch when the police did something called a no-knock warrant, went into his cousin's home where he was a guest. He, thinking someone's breaking into the apartment, sits up with a gun and he gets shot and killed. The officer going in said he had to make a split-second decision and killed Amir Locke, 23 years old. And after that, across the country, we are being a lot more careful and typically getting rid of no-knock warrants. If you want to know what a no-knock warrant is, no-knocks are where we usually have to knock when you get a signed search warrant. You need to announce that you are the police coming in, and it is to stop exactly this kind of problem so that people know that the police are coming in, that they're not getting a home invasion. And they need to be, someone has to be in uniform. So normally they have some young patrol people, even if it's a SWAT team going in, they have young patrol people in front to show that they actually are police, because those folks might look like, ninja warriors or something. So they want that to happen, that you get notified so that, but the reason no knocks exist are that either somebody's at risk or in danger, there are dangerous circumstances, or that evidence is going to be destroyed, like flushed down the toilet or whatever. And in these cases, typically, because these special units that go out and get felons are typically talking about dangerous situations, the officers first got a knock warrant in that case and then went back and got a no knock because they told the judge they weren't going to serve it unless they gave them the no knock. Wow. And that was in Minneapolis. So we are always talking about this stuff. It's tough stuff to talk about. I want to do that on a Monday so you have time before Thursday. Also, if you haven't seen the video, to do what you will. And I think that I have an obligation to watch them. I'm not going to tell any of you that you have an obligation, but you should at least read about it if you don't watch them yourself. And they put 3 of them together. There's a street one that I think is even more impactful because it has no audio to Mr. Nichols' death, but a murder that we see on film. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing a murder occurring in their real time. So it's a tough one. And we will see each other on Thursday. And I am sorry to have to, yeah, be these bearer of bad tidings, but if we don't confront it, we don't get better. We don't evolve. So we never shy away from the elephant in the room. We always will talk about these hard things and talk about what it means and integrating it, synthesizing. Remember the information we get from the real world with the information we learn about academically here. Okay, see you Thursday. And remember, this is heavy. Go see some funny videos or something. For me, SNL on Saturday nights gives me a great pleasure too, most of the time. So, okay, talk to you later.